What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is another edition of, I guess, what is becoming the Sunday tradition, which is the TN AAA recap review. I don't know what I'm calling it. I'm still calling it off the cuff because it still fits in the off the cuff category, but I'll come up with a name for it eventually. Before we get into the proceedings, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the situation currently surrounding WWE referee Daphne LaShawn. I don't know what her real name is. I'm pretty sure Daphne LaShawn is a WWE name / a stage name, whatever the case may be, but, that's what we know her as. Jake and I talked a couple of weeks ago, not even a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about her boyfriend coming out and letting everybody know that she had been in a pretty rough car accident, that they were all shaken up, that the car was totaled. And at the time we sort of said, car wreck sucks. Hope everybody's okay. Hope everybody's healing okay. Hope everybody's mentally okay and all that sort of thing. Well, life seemed to double, triple, quadruple down on Daphne LaShawn when it was announced a couple of days ago, back on February 5th, February 6th, I believe it was, that her whole family has suffered another gigantic tragedy, in the sense of there was a house fire where she lost not one family member, but a grandmother, a grandfather, an uncle, and a cousin, leaving the cousin's 7-member family completely displaced, completely homeless, nothing to their name, no belongings to their name, etc. She's gone on social media to talk about, being incredibly heartbroken, incredibly lost, recovering from the car accident, planning 4 funerals, etc. Unimaginable stuff. And I'm not here to say, let's take an accounting of everybody's tragedy or whatever. What I am here to do is, it's not hard to find. A lot of wrestlers are reposting it. A lot of wrestlers are sharing it around and making their own donations. If you've got anything to give, we say the wrestling community for a reason. I know we do the WFU because of the, the Wrestling Fans United thing with the Wrestling for Life guys. Shout out to them. But, on a grander scale, we are still, the IWC, and the C in IWC is community. So, I say what I always say, contribute if you can, help out a fellow human being if you can, and if you can't, a share costs nothing. So go find the GoFundMe. It's everywhere. I know people have highlighted that, obviously people that we know are good people, like Liv Morgan, like Bayley, like Alexa Bliss, like Kevin Owens, have come out of the woodwork and put their donations in and whatever. And I don't want to take the focus off of Daphne LaShawn and all the stuff that her family is going through, but I do want to reiterate, and I'm by no means trying to stand on any moral high ground here. This is just something that's irking me a little bit. Wrestling fandom is an incredibly tribal thing. There's times to not do it. The people that are looking at, announcements are going to come out, No DQ put out, hey, check out a bunch of awesome people that have donated to this. As I say, usually at the top of that list is Bayley, is Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens. I think Sami Zayn was in there as well. And the first thing a lot of people are saying, well, I bet Bianca donated too, and I bet Naomi donated too. And it's okay, cool. Maybe they did. I'm not here to say, oh my god, they didn't. But first of all, don't undercut friends trying to help each other. Second of all, don't try to get your favorite over on a GoFundMe page for somebody that's suffered such massive tragedy. And then they went through and they found all the anonymous donations, and it's well, maybe Bianca was this, and maybe Naomi was this. And it's here's another thing to think about when you consider respect and privacy and all that kind of thing. People that have donated anonymously want their donations to be anonymous. Maybe leave it alone. And of course, the final thing about all this is the people that just don't like WWE and see any tragedy as an excuse to shit on WWE, and they say, well, look at all these wrestlers helping out their fellow coworker or whatever. You don't see WWE doing that. WWE, if they want to help one of their employees financially, which you don't know if they have or have not, wouldn't have to do it through the venue of a GoFundMe. This is not the time for that. I'm sorry. It's just not. I know the kind of people that are doing this, and I know the kind of people that are doing this are the people that don't deserve the air in my breath to mention them, etc., etc., but it really is Like, while the good parts of the community are trying to be the good parts of the community and do the good community thing, I don't see what you gain by undercutting the people that are participating in a GoFundMe to raise money for as I say, a family that is in such massive tragedy at the moment. It's not time to wave your "Hey, it's February" flag. It's not time to wave your AEW flag. It's not time for any of that. And as far as like, oh, who's your favorite wrestler and whatever, we're talking about a lady who's very good at her job, but she's a referee. She's not competing with your favorite. There's no reason to get that defensive. This lady, up to and including today, because I still exist on the cesspool that is X, formerly Twitter, this lady is still catching strays for the botch at the end of the Nia Jax and whoever else triple threat match that was last year. Check your notes. It was last year. So all the good thoughts, all the sympathy, empathy, thoughts and prayers, however you want to phrase it, to the friends and loved ones and family of Daphne LaShawn. I can't imagine what she's going through right now, and I can imagine that she doesn't need dickheads on her GoFundMe page. Massive, like, unmeasurable loss for a single person to go through while they're trying to recover themselves from a car accident as well. Can't wait to see when she's back on part of the show, and I hope she gets a little bit of love from the WWE, and I'm pretty damn sure she's getting some support from the WWE family as a whole, as, like I say, as is evident by the prominent Bayley, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, etc., 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 etc. Horrible stuff. Your heart breaks for this lady, and there's not much else we can do. It's that kind of pain that, like, we can help with, but we can't take away from somebody. And at the end of the day, it's a fellow human being, and we're all fellow human beings, or at least that's what I would like to think. But it's 2026, and a lot of human beings out there aren't very humane. Anyways, sorry to start it on a down note, but it would be remiss of me to not speak on it. So there's me speaking on it, and I'm sure people will have something to say. Now, oh goddamn, still dry as hell up here, so I still sound like this. TNA, AAA, we're both building to some pretty decent looking pay-per-views. TNA is building No Surrender. AAA is building to the Rey de Reyes pay-per-view, which isn't until March, but I mean, they've only got an hour-long show, so they need a longer time to build to a proper pay-per-view, etc. So let's get into some of the key high points. What I will say about TNA this week, they built their stories, but they also gave us a hell of a lot of new people. And I don't mean new people like, oh my god, they've never wrestled before. I mean new people as in people I've never seen before. Trey Miguel, in, I guess what you would call his comeback match. Yes, he was in the Feast or Fired briefcase match. He's got his shot at the International Championship now, but this is his first one-on-one match back on Impact since AEW fucked him with cancel culture. Let's be real for a second. Taking on a guy named Adam Brooks, seems to be a guy from Australia, got a little bit of a rougher look to him. I don't think he's a heel per se, but he's got an excessive confidence to him, so to speak. By no means was this a squash match. This was a hell of an exhibition for Adam Brooks. It's enough that I want to see that little yellow and red graphic that says TNA has signed Adam Brooks if they haven't done it already. It wasn't a squash match for Trey Miguel, which is fine, because I like Trey Miguel and I want to see Trey Miguel in action, and I think people overestimate the value of a squash match these days, because if you like a wrestler, you want to see them do their thing for more than 30 or 40 or 50 seconds or so. Now, Ariana Grace was on commentary. Now, this was difficult. I don't want to, give them blanket credit for this. Ariana Grace was on commentary, and I guess the idea is she's on commentary for Trey's match to build the story, start a bit of continuity between Trey and Stax, because he's got the International Championship that Trey's coming for. We'll get to that in a second. But it didn't really help build the match. It really just gave commentary an opportunity for them to ask Ariana Grace, well, how are things with your fiance and your dad? Like, there was a drama, like there was a vocal drama, like a storytelling drama happening on commentary while there was a cool match happening in front of us. It was very much, how's the family drama going, rather than let's build the match. Like, she could have been on commentary for any match, and it didn't even necessarily matter that Trey Miguel was there because they were focused on the drama. Didn't really love that. The whole, like, she's snapped back to babyface, she's trying to turn Stacks into a babyface to appease her dad or whatever. Not the greatest. I am looking forward to Trey Miguel versus Stacks. I do think that Trey Miguel being welcomed back to TNA with open arms, because that's what it is, they are becoming the company that says fuck cancel culture, and that is going to stir up a following within a certain amount of fans, because a certain amount of fans are so sick of the cancel culture bullshit. They need to focus more on the match because it's coming up quite soon. The drama could go to one side. Trey Miguel, not only being, that was the point I was trying to make, not only being welcomed back to TNA with open arms, but being the guy to save the International Championship from Stacks, from NXT, but also probably carry it to a little bit more prominence. He's more popular, I think, than Steve Macklin, and he's definitely more flashy. He's definitely more of a, oh my god, look at this firecracker that we've got, and look at the title he's holding. It's still on a baby blue strap, but that's another story for another day. So great to see Trey Miguel back in action. Adam Brooks, really impressive. Want to see more of him. Grace on commentary was a little bit of a miss. The Righteous had a squash match. I'm not going to lie, I missed the beginning of it, so I missed the names, but they had a squash match. They had a post-match promo against a promo towards the Hardys that was the mind game thing. It was the, we don't want to be your rivals, we want to be your allies, we want to work with you, we want to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. And the Hardys responding in the back as like, fuck your mind games, etc., etc., etc. And then they get attacked by the new system, the Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Cedric Alexander, Bear Bronson system. Now, a lot of this was them being thrown off screen, and the beating was kind of more implied. Now, I've heard that this was because Jeff Hardy's dealing with a neck issue, and if that's the case, then just throw the brakes on everything. But it's kind of funny. The Righteous want to team with the Hardys, so a team of 4 attack the Hardys. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen there. I don't know. I don't mind the Righteous. They have my interest, but this thing's really dragging. The way that people think MFT and the Wyatts is dragging on SmackDown, which I could go either way. It's fine. I like the Wyatts. I like the creepy stuff and whatever. I really think this thing with the Righteous and the Hardys, it's dragging, but also it needs to decide what it is a little bit. But this whole idea of the system attacking everybody, attacking the Hardys maybe have to join with the Righteous. We'll talk about that in a second. But it needs to get where it's going. Either the Hardys are eventually going to put over the Righteous, and the Righteous are going to be the new tag champions. They've got that weird culty vibe, sort of shades of an old Bray Wyatt type of gimmick, but I think the Righteous were actually around first. Somebody correct me down in the box below. It needs to hurry up and get where it's going, is my point. There was a mixed tag between Order 4, represented by Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz, taking on Elijah and Jada Stone, who is very new to my knowledge. I hadn't heard of her until this match. Now, I like Elijah. I like Mustafa Ali. I like Tasha Steelz. I think Tasha Steelz is incredibly underrated. None of them mattered in this match. The star of this match was Jada Stone, going absolutely hog wild. And this match, the way it was put together, was made to highlight her, to focus on her, to make this her exhibition. Not only when she's squared off against Tasha Steelz, not only when she's doing tandem stuff with Elijah, who's, within the TNA realm is a pretty big star on the roster, but also squaring off face to face. I always say TNA, the benefit of TNA is that they're willing to do the intergender stuff. She squared off with Mustafa Ali, who's fantastic in his own right. She's like a foot shorter than him and like half his size, and they had a good exchange, and she looked fantastic. And whether it was facing off against Tasha Steelz, whether it was facing off against Mustafa Ali, stepping into that, like I say, that intergender realm, this lady did not look a step out of place. I've seen her a grand total of once, and I'm saying right now, TNA, you've got a fucking star on your hands. Do something with it. She's got energy. She's got charisma. She had the crowd behind her. She took a jumping tombstone from Mustafa Ali to end this match like a fucking champ. Shout out Jada Stone. Incredibly impressed. Not that she needs my approval or gratitude or anything like that, but incredibly impressive. Much like Adam Brooks, want to see more Jada Stone. We had Steve Macklin in the back, following on from him getting the fired briefcase and getting shaking a bunch of hands and all that sort of thing, and then doing a brief backstage goodbye. Before what happened, I thought this was really lame for him to do his video farewell to the fans in a backstage segment. But then, sorry guys, the last person he sees before he heads out the door is, the current champion, Mike Santana, who tells him, you should be proud of what you've done here. You should be, this place was better for having you. I'm glad to have you. We've gotten close over the years. You should be able to leave with your head held high. And it was one of those things, once again, where everything Mike Santana was saying was really nice, really positive, really complimentary, really supportive. Hey, we're going to miss you. See you down the road. The famous wrestler phrase is always, it's never goodbye, we'll always see you down the road. And he steps one foot out the door, turns back, and lashes out at Mike Santana. So, all these complimentary things, all these supportive things that Mike Santana was trying to say clearly came off as, condescending and, sort of piddly to Steve Macklin. Hell of a moment, and as I say, as I usually do, I was watching along with the Wrestling for Life guys and Ringsider Anthony, who does way more detailed and better TNA content than I do here. I'm just doing broad strokes here. But I think, as they said in the chat over there, I think Ringsider Anthony's heart grew 3 sizes that day, because clearly Steve Macklin's not actually leaving, not actually going to the dark side, not actually becoming the 117th member of the Don Callis family. And again, it's one of those, I want him to stay in TNA, but I'll be honest and selfish, and if he did come over to NXT, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. But, I mean, don't fall into that abyss in AEW that seems to specifically be designed and exclusive to former TNA talents. I'm just saying. Jake Something's already injured. Josh Alexander is doing what exactly? When was the last time we saw Deonna Purrazzo, Taya Valkyrie? Ace Austin disappeared after his debut and came back to get his ass kicked by Moxley. Now, should Ace Austin be beating Jon Moxley? Probably not, but that shouldn't be the only time you bring him out of mothballs. It's very reminiscent of Athena, who you shunted onto ROH so that people would have any reason to watch ROH, and you brought her back only when Mercedes Moné needed a victory or needed a tag team partner. And then you put her back in mothballs. And yes, ROH is mothballs at this point. It's the smallest part of your company, and you put it behind a paywall. How's that working out for you? Steve Macklin is going to stay. He's going to have a rivalry with Mike Santana. It's going to be fantastic. They're going to pound 10 lumps out of each other. It's going to be good. And continuing with the theme that TNA is the company that says fuck cancel culture, not only was Tessa Blanchard on this show, but they promoted it and they pushed it as the AMC debut of Tessa Blanchard. I know a lot of people out there were saying, oh, maybe they're going to pull her back, maybe they're not going to feature her as much because they're on a big network now and they're not going to want to push somebody like her. Cool. You topped the show with Trey Miguel, you tailed the show with Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard, who's out there with Mila Moore and Victoria Crawford and taking on a young lady named Rachel Leigh. I don't have much to say about the match because this was a match to say that, yes, in fact, we are putting Tessa Blanchard on your television. Suck it up, princess. Overall, Adam Brooks, awesome. Trey Miguel, sort of re-debut, singles debut, building up the story towards him going after the International Championship. The Righteous Hardys stuff, not so great. We were introduced to the fantastic talent that is Jada Stone. Macklin is not, in fact, leaving the company, it looks like, and Tessa Blanchard will be on your television. Now, I will say as well, Jake and I touched on this as well on State of Wrestling earlier this week. Impact had a decent debut, went down in the second week as predicted, and then on the third week, which was not only 3 weeks in, but also the first taped episode, so you figure, okay, further downturn, beat the debuting episode. So let's see what this one does. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if brand new stars, pretty decent stories, and saying, fuck cancel culture, we have awesome wrestlers on our roster and you're going to see them. Let's see if the trajectory keeps going up. Because, I'm sorry, AEW, you're beaten by Raw, you're beaten by SmackDown, you're even beaten by NXT. When AAA gets a TV deal, they're going to beat you as well. TNA is not quite beating Dynamite yet, but they're already destroying Collision. You are falling down the pecking order. You're not the number 2. You're the number... Well, you are a number 2. But you're about number 5 at this point, you tribal fucking idiots. Oh, yes. So there's a pay-per-view to talk about. We'll talk about that in a second. Going to get the AAA stuff out of the way this week because it was a shorter episode this week. I think it was only like... I watched it after the fact when the commercials were taken out of it and everything, and I think it was only like 45 minutes, which is fine. For a Saturday show, nice little bite-sized bit of entertainment. Now, Dominic Mysterio and Vikingo started off the show with a sort of a heel-to-heel promo. Dom out there being heel, but being over as hell. Vikingo out there with his group, the El Ojo, with Omos and the manager, whose name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try. Each one of them basically saying, you know, we're the king of the luchadors, we're the reason that AAA is on Fox, and we're the reason that everybody in the world is watching AAA right now. Good stuff. They're both heels. The crowd loves Dom and hates Vikingo. We didn't do anything with this new feud between Vikingo and Mini Vikingo. I still want to see that because it's just going to be funny. If it ends up being Vikingo and Omos versus Mini Vikingo and Dominic Mysterio, then I don't know what to do. It was an interesting dynamic that they had to play with here because the commentators for AAA, and it seems to be pretty standard now that the commentators for AAA are Corey Graves, JBL, and Rey Mysterio. So when Rey Mysterio's out there and he's talking about this world title picture that includes his son, who's a heel, who's put him in his place a bunch of times. You can tell, and he's doing it relatively well for commentary, and it's always like, yeah, he's the champion, he's the top of the heap right now, but he's still my piece of shit kid. It's a very interesting dynamic for them to play with because obviously the promos are in Spanish, and Rey Mysterio is doing a really good job on commentary of translating the promo as the promo goes along. So he's obviously translating for Dom, he's translating for Vikingo, letting everybody know what each one of them is saying in the build and all that kind of thing, until we get to Vikingo saying, I'm not just going to take the title from you, I'm not just going to go back to being like the king of the luchadors or whatever, I'm going to take something else that matters from you, and he suggests a hair versus hair match. Now, it wasn't clear, and it wasn't clear in the translation because I went back to listen to it a second time. The way they phrased it, I don't know whether he's saying, hey, Dom, put your hair on the line, or whether he's saying this is going to be a hair versus hair match. Because if I'm Dom, and he says, just put your hair on the line, the response would have to be, okay, my hair's on the line, my title's on the line, what the fuck are you putting on the line? But it's interesting because Dom's known for the mullet, etc., etc., etc. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know if that maybe telegraphs the finish. Maybe that telegraphs who the winner's going to be. If you remember, oh my God, it's a terrible, terrible example of Vince McMahon versus Donald Trump with the hair on the line. And as soon as they put the hair on the line, it's like, well, they're not shaving Donald Trump's head, are they? And then Vince McMahon got bald for a bit, and then he had a do-rag for a little bit there, and then he used the N-word in front of Booker T. So ain't wrestling great. So they might have telegraphed this. They're doing a contract signing in 2 weeks. People are already complaining, oh my God, they're doing WWE tropes in AAA. They've ruined it already. It's like, okay. They're not the first ones to do, like, contract signings. I mean, TNA does contract signings. AEW. Remember when Anthony Ogogo was getting ready to face Cody Rhodes in AEW, and they did the whole fucking fake weigh-in thing, and that's as sports entertainment as it gets. So they're going to sign their contract next week. Dom's going to decide whether he puts his hair on the line or just the title, because the title should be the thing. Hair versus hair is something you throw on a feud or on a match or on a competition that doesn't have anything else on the line. I think it runs the risk of being a little, I've put a hat on a hat. But I don't think it's going to be a bad thing. They're not going to shave Dominic Mysterio's head. That's for damn sure. But it's really weird and really fun to watch Dominic Mysterio navigate this middle ground where he's clearly a heel. His character is a heel. He cheats like a heel. The commentary team, especially, including his dad, are narrating his stories as if he's a heel. But the crowd fucking loves him. And then Vikingo on the other side of the coin, who was a babyface, and I think it traces back to him. Somebody can correct me down in the box below, because I wasn't watching AAA before they were bought by WWE. I openly admit that. But I think the crowd turning on Vikingo dates back to them not liking that he beat Alberto Del Patron for the title. If that's true, somebody correct me down in the box below, because I really like Vikingo. I like him as a babyface. I think he's kind of a dickhead as a heel. This team with Omos is weird. Omos is there to be big, and that's fine. There's a place for that in wrestling. But yeah, I'm just going to keep saying the same thing. The dynamic here is very strange. You got two heels where one of them's clearly presented as a heel but seen as a babyface. And even that's, and I mean, it has been for a while, but that's really like spilling out and spilling over into regular mainstream main roster WWE as well. I mean, look at WrestleMania, where Dom won the Intercontinental Championship, and the crowd pop was so big they told him to go back to the ring and soak it in some more. So Rey de Reyes, other than the Rey de Reyes tournament itself being headed up by this match here, is going to be a lot of fun. It's I don't know whether they go back to Vikingo. I think they stick with Dominic. I think they know they've got a star there. But yeah, it's an interesting enough match that I want to see where it goes. Then we got a video package from the Royal Rumble, and I don't mind it because I think it's kind of funny. But WWE really is cheating with the Royal Rumble highlight reels this year. Now, when they did a video package for NXT, it's like, oh, look at all these NXT stars we have, and then they go with everybody that's just been called up, like Trick and Javon and Oba, and I think they threw Royce Keys in there. So, not quite NXT, like products of NXT, but not people that are currently in NXT. They threw, Lola Vice was there, Sol Ruka, who's been getting insane praise for her participation in the Rumble, which is absolutely deserved and absolutely fantastic that she made it into the final three. They did the same thing here for AAA. Look at all the AAA people that were in the Rumble, and it goes to like Rey Mysterio and Penta and Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee. And then obviously you get to people like La Parka, people like Lola Vice, who's got that dual contract that we always talk about. You get to people obviously like Mr. Iguana, the Americanos, which we'll talk about in a second. But it went from let's feature our AAA talent, which would have been Lola, Mr. Iguana, and La Parka. There we go. Thank you, brain. And it just went to sort of broadly all the luchadors in WWE, because most of them have been down to AAA at some point. They threw Penta into the mix. Now Penta has been there for an interview, and he's been there to announce that he'll be presenting the Rey de Reyes like sword trophy thing at the pay-per-view, but he hasn't competed on AAA. He was supposed to compete in AAA against Los Gringos Locos 2.0 as the official reunion of the Lucha Brothers, but that didn't happen because he got injured on Raw. So, it's like I say, it's a bit of a cheat. Good for them. They're spinning the narrative as a way to advertise AAA, which is awesome. It's their newest thing. I will keep doubling down on the fact that they just put it on YouTube, which is brilliant, which means anybody can watch it. Anybody can lay eyes on it. I'm pretty sure even Rey de Reyes is just going to be on YouTube. Promotional package, sort of hey, here we are, and here's the people that are here sometimes. It's a bit of a cheat. NXT did a little bit of a cheat, but I'm not mad about it. What I am kind of bummed about is we didn't quite get the match we were looking for next. It was supposed to be the mixed tag team champions, Ethan Page and Chelsea Green, defending against Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice. Now, Ethan Page showed up to the venue, FaceTiming with Chelsea. What do you mean you're not here? How come you're not here? I don't, like, why am I the only one here? Rah. She, on FaceTime, puts her foot up. She's got her foot in a boot. She's apparently legitimately been injured on SmackDown on Friday, which is, first of all, terrible, like, get well soon and all that kind of thing. But it left Ethan in a bit of a lurch as to not having a tag team partner. Hey, we've got a tag title match coming up next. You wouldn't be making the call 5 minutes before the match is about to happen, but that's another story for another day. And he gets interrupted by La Hydra, who is the one in this weird love triangle with Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice. It's wrestling. I love it. And she proceeds to tell him, like, why don't I go out with you? I know more about those titles than just about anybody. I used to hold those titles with Mr. Iguana. So they went out, and it was sort of a substitute situation. And because of that, Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice are now your new tag title champion holders, whatever the case may be. Very cool. It does lead me to believe that they're going to get that belt off Ethan soon and throw him on the main roster, which is no kind of bad thing. I don't think they needed to take the belt, the AAA title off of him, because Chelsea Green was on the main roster representing that AAA title. So it's a little eh. It leaves them a creative open door to come back to this match and say, well, you didn't beat the real champions. You beat one of the champions and a substitute. So there's a string to pull there. Maybe if her foot is better by Rey de Reyes, there's your mixed tag title match. Who knows? As I say, it gives the heels something to legitimately complain about. And because they're the heels and she hurt her foot, she hurt her heel, ha 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 ha. It's a shitty joke. Sorry, I'm kind of tired this morning. It is what it is. But yeah, Lola Vice being the actual, like, dual contracted star between NXT and AAA and carrying that belt onto NXT when she's competing in NXT is no kind of bad thing. It's a very different, it's a different version of the cross promotion that Ethan Page was already doing with his portion of the mixed tag title. I like the fact that they're different colors. It's kind of funny. Little tiny, like the tiniest nitpick ever. If Ethan Page didn't know that his partner wasn't showing up, he shouldn't have had her belt. There should have been okay, there's only one belt, and Lola Vice and Mr. Iguana are going to hold up the one belt for now and get the other belt later on. A tiny, tiny, tiny continuity error that nobody but me is going to give a damn about. Perfectly aware of that. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. La Hydra is, like, continuing her feud with Lola Vice, which is continuing Lola Vice's feud with Las Toxicas, because one of the other members of Las Toxicas is the Reina de Reinas women's champion. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get Lola Vice in the AAA women's world title picture at some point, which is no bad thing. Lola Vice is fucking amazing. Look at her run. Look at her run on NXT. Look at how she's done so far in AAA. Look at her run in the Rumble. This lady is killing it everywhere she goes, and it's fantastic to see. I don't know what else. The Toxicas are a fun group in AAA. It's all good. We got... What else did we get? There's going to be a triple threat match next week for the number one contendership for the tag team, the men's tag team titles. It's the Viking Raiders and the Los Americanos and some other team that I'm not familiar with. It's like Team like Big Money or something like that. Two luchadors that I am not yet familiar with. I mean, Viking Raiders are going to win. It is what it is. There's more qualifying matches next week for the Rey de Reyes tournament. And then we get to this week's qualifying match for the Rey de Reyes tournament, which was fucking stellar. Dragon Lee, Rey Fenix, Octagon, and El Grande Americano. Now, El Grande Americano was attacked in the back and handcuffed to a piece of workout equipment by El Grande Americano original, Agracias, who took his place in the match because he's also El Grande Americano. Now, I couldn't tell you enough about this match because it was fucking fantastic. El Grande Americano original, we know who he is. Athletic as hell, in there with 3 bona fide high-flying luchadors. This match was a lot of fun. It wasn't short by any stretch of the imagination, but it didn't drag either. It was perfect in that spot. As I say, in this week's episode that was only about like 45-50 minutes long, it was the quintessential stereotypical wrestling shot of adrenaline that you get from a high flyer, cruiserweight, luchador, whatever you want to call it, match. And yes, the people that go over to the other side and accuse them of having spot fests, you could accuse this match of being a spot fest, but it was a good one, so we're not going to do that. Now, eventually, El Grande Americano original got the win, so he's moved on in the tournament. The other 3 made a hell of a showing of themselves. I don't know what this does. Does El Grande Americano cost El Grande Americano the Rey de Reyes tournament final? Maybe, perhaps. But if they're gonna do the Grande versus Grande feud in AAA, I would have rather he cost him this match and either Rey Fenix or Dragon Lee or Octagon go forward into the final. Because if you've got fuckery in the preliminary match, then it's kind of okay. If you've got fuckery in the final, then the whole final kind of feels like, you know what I mean? Not the end of the world. Great fucking match. I will say, if you're not watching first of all, maybe you're not watching this if you're not watching AAA. But if you're not watching AAA, go find this week's episode. Just go find this match. The Dom and Vikingo promo goes a bit long for some people. The Ethan and Chelsea situation is less than ideal, but there was a title change. That's always exciting. The main event was the main event for a reason. It was fantastic. Fantastic. Anyways, I shouldn't do it. That's what they tell me. I would never say that. That's what they tell me. But yeah, an interesting week. Like I say, doubling down on what I said a second ago, TNA did a lot of like, hey, here's some new people that we've sort of had on the back burner that we're putting out on the front burner. Tessa Blanchard, proper debut on AMC. Trey Miguel, proper debut on AMC. Macklin is not, in fact, leaving TNA, it looks like. Jada Stone, Adam Brooks, and even Rachel Leigh, to a certain degree, making fantastic showings of themselves. The Righteous and Hardys stuff needs to tighten up a little bit, in my opinion. We pressed forward with Dominic Mysterio versus El Hijo del Vikingo for the main event of Rey de Reyes. We've got brand new AAA mixed tag team champions, and we got another qualifier for the Rey de Reyes men's tournament in El Grande Americano Original. Now, if I turn my attention slightly, we've got No Surrender, which is February 13th, which is not that far away. I think it's next Friday. So far on the card, we've got Stax defending the International Championship match against Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel's going to win that title. It's going to be fantastic. Want everything in the world for Trey Miguel. It's not the system, but I guess it's a warm-up match for the team of the Righteous and the Hardys. They're taking on Order 4. It's weird because anybody that takes on the system feels like they're taking on Order 4 first. So Order 4 is starting to look like the System Junior. I don't know that that's ideal. Another story that's sort of developing in the background with Ariana Grace being supposedly babyface again is she kissed up to her dad and got herself a women's knockouts championship. So we're going to get Ariana Grace versus Lei Ying Lee. That'll be interesting. It'll be a sort of a turning point of whether or not this Ariana Grace face turn is legitimate or whether it's more manipulation. We're spending way too much time on the Santino Marella family drama for my liking, but it is what it is. Now, the other new authority, Daria Ray, has made a tag match as well. Apparently Leon Slater has got his visa issues sorted out, which is wonderful to hear. Leon Slater is going to team with Mike Santana, the X Division champion and the world champion, taking on Nick Nemeth and Eddie Edwards. Now, the interesting point in this, normally I would hate having your world champion at a pay-per-view in a tag match because it just tells you that we haven't found a challenger for you, so we'll just give you this for now. The interesting point, the turning point, the selling point for this is Mike Santana, realistically, as far as his title goes, has no friends in this match. I mean, Leon Slater's a babyface, it's fine. But what they're pushing forward with is Eddie Edwards has the Feast or Fire briefcase for that title. Nick Nemeth still has the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy to cash in for that title. And what they're really pushing right now is the fact that Leon Slater is the X Division champion, which means he can always invoke option C. So Mike Santana has to go into this match. I know I can't trust my opponents, but can I trust my partner? And then Leon Slater on the other side of the coin, who's a good guy, is going to go into this match saying, hey, I've been gone for so long, and I'm still trying to represent the company or whatever. Why doesn't my partner for the night trust me? So that'll be an interesting dynamic to play around with. We will preview that probably this week coming up. The AAA Rey de Reyes pay-per-view is not until March 14th, so we've got a fair bit to go. Right now, we've got Dominic Mysterio versus El Hijo del Vikingo. We've got so far La Parca and El Grande Americano Original qualified for the Rey de Reyes tournament final. There's going to be 2 more TBDs by the time we get there. It's not on the card as of yet, but I'm pretty sure TJP's shot at Laredo Kid's Latin American title, or sorry, Cruiserweight title, is going to be on here. Pretty sure we're getting the Viking Raiders versus Psycho Circus on here. And if I was a gambling man, if I was a betting man, I would say if she's healthy enough in a month's time, I think you get Chelsea Green and Ethan Page demanding a rematch against Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice. A very building block, very information heavy, very moving pieces around the board week for both TNA and AAA, but I'm having a lot of fun with both. I'm having a lot of fun with AAA. I've mentioned this before on the pod and in other chats, etc. I'm having a lot of fun with AAA on the basis that nobody else is really... Like, a lot of people are shitting on TNA right now because they're getting super defensive of AEW because they're on their heels. But AAA is either because people are choosing not to watch it or because people are already mocking it just because it's got the WWE logo on it now. There's not a whole lot of people talking about AAA, which makes it a hell of a lot more fun to talk about because there's not 20 million idiots on X telling you why you shouldn't be having the fun you're having. So I'll say what I've been saying the past couple of weeks. If you're not watching AAA, give it a shot. If you are watching AAA, let me know what you think. If you're a TNA person, let me know what you think about TNA. Are you looking forward to these 2 respective pay-per-views? Are you looking forward to No Surrender? Are you looking forward to Rey de Reyes? Are you looking forward to, I don't know, anything else? Are you going out for an ice cream this afternoon? I'm tired. I'm losing my voice. As always, sorry guys, it always is a case of, oh my god, it's dry, oh my god, I'm losing my voice, oh my god, I'm coughing up a lung. Those of you that have stuck with me for this long and are helping my numbers incredibly, by the way, thank you all. Thank you for choosing to take some time and listen to me ramble about TNA and AAA. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you do enjoy it, be sure to share it around to anybody else you think might like it. I could use the help. Till then, thank you very much for listening right now. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.